Welcome to episode 4 of the Transformational Masterclasses. My name is Ekta Bajaj. I'm the author of the book, The Voice of Kali, and I have with me Christine Delmar. And she's a life coach, a happiness coach living in France. And we both are coming together to create this wonderful platform for each one of you who's looking to empower themselves and create a transformation in their life. And these small sessions that we are doing are just a glimpse to give towards a complete inner transformation. It's something that I have gone through. It's something that Christine has gone through. And each week we try to share a part of our experience, a part of our learning, and just discuss what we have gone through in this process so that you're aware of what's coming. And today we are going to be talking about something that we almost always ignore, and that's self-love. So welcome, Christine.
Well, I'm so happy to be with you.
So am I. So self-love, Christine, often a very neglected part within us is the part that is mostly wounded, is something that we almost shove under the carpet because we don't want to look at it. And because we just shove that wounded part under the carpet and with somewhere deep within our consciousness, we don't go back to nurture it. We just ignore it, let it be in a certain dark corner within our soul. But there is always a pain that that wound will just give, and that becomes the trigger to sometimes our sudden burst of emotions, anger, or any other extreme emotion, until I realize that until we go back and nurture that wounded part with love, find enough courage to face it and nurture it with love, we are often hit by it in many ways that we don't realize. And for me, this was a very important part of the journey when I understood that whatever I am and whoever I am is a very unique entity, and I've got to honor every emotion that resides within me, every pain, every experience that I've gone through, and I've got to look at every experience with love.
Yes, love is so important. And the problem is that we are not educated to love ourselves. We are, especially women, we are here to serve men, to serve our children, or to serve society, and we don't take care of ourselves. And it's like in a plane, before putting your oxygen mask.
Yes.
I mean, you put first your oxygen mask and then you help the others. And that's the way we should do. We should first love ourselves to be able to love other people. And we have to get in contact with our emotions, with our inner life, as you said, also with our pains, because we have a lot of suffering inside of us. And until we get our look inside, that's how I feel. I do, when I meditate, it's kind of turning my eyes inside of me instead of looking, forward. And when you get in contact with your inner life, then you can heal first, and you can start loving yourself, which is so important, because with love you can dissolve all pains. It's so true. I had the experience maybe 2 days ago. I had that feeling of that came to me, not being worth it, the question of value, my own value. And it's a comic thing with me, so I have to work on it a lot, because it comes from other lives. And I thought about Kelly at that time, then like love came, and it really dissolved that feeling of being unworthy. That's how you say in English.
Yeah.
And it's really this term, dissolve. It's not a fight. It's not I replace, my bad feeling by love. It's just love comes, and then the pain dissolves like, sugar in water or salt in water, and that's so good. So it's so important to start loving ourselves, and it's so incredible that we don't love ourselves.
It is. It is. And to understand it from a Vedantic point of view, from Vedas, they say that we are internally, innately, we are meant to just emit one emotion, and that is love and happiness. And because we deviate from that emotion so much and we are corrupted by other emotions, we forget that solution to every problem in our life will come from love, and it will come through love. And we'll try to find a logic towards everything. We'll try to find different solutions until we come to a point where we learn to forgive, where we will learn to let go, we will learn to control our anger, our thoughts, so that we can embrace every situation with love. And ultimately, love is the key to every door that is locked in our life, and yet we just neglect it. And how beautiful it would be if we just learn to look at every situation outside and within ourselves with love. And like you rightly said, we're not taught to love ourselves. Sometimes we are just given that feeling that it's selfish to love ourselves.
Yeah, which
It's
is
not.
not.
And like you said, you've got to first take care of what's within you. First got to nurture your own garden, and then you will have that energy to nurture someone else and heal someone else. But the wounds that we have within ourselves have to be dealt with first. Now, I've also seen that when people talk about self-love, they don't really know how to start that. What do they
And
mean by self-love? They will
yes, and
ask.
also maybe it's a bad conception also, because it has nothing to do, as you said, with selfishness.
No.
It has nothing to do with being self-centered. It has nothing to do with being arrogant. Nothing at all. Self-love is first accepting yourself
Yes.
with your weaknesses and also your strength, both. It's really accepting that you are who you are with your personality and your limits, and that you're doing the best you can. And it's really being aware of who you are, and that's it. There's no judgment. It's neither good or bad. It just is. And loving yourself is first, it's such a good feeling.
It is.
Really, it's a good feeling, because then you don't have to struggle anymore with yourself. Most of the time we want to be more effective, more beautiful, more. We're never enough. And like this, it doesn't mean that you're very satisfied with who you are and that's it. I I don't do any more inner work. Not at all. But it's being in the present moment, here and now, with who you are, and saying, okay, it's fine. It's
Yes.
fine. And like this, I'm the Buddhists say, we all have the nature of Buddha in ourselves. We with Kelly, we say we all have the nature of Kelly inside of
Yes.
ourselves. So it's, instead of looking to your limits, your weaknesses, all the things that are not so good in you, it's looking to your light, inside.
It's
To
recognizing that light. It's
Yes.
recognizing that you are the light. How often we just think we are not. And like you rightly said, acceptance. Um, I found accepting myself was not easy, because every day you are listening to 10 things that you're told about yourself. Every day you're told that this is the right way to go forward, that's not the right thing to do, this is not the right way to behave. Acceptance comes by shunning every voice around you, and kind of making it dimmer and dimmer and dimmer, and listening to that one voice within you that is telling you who you really are.
The voice of Kali.
The voice of Kali. And that is the voice that's going to lead you to understand, like we were discussing, that I believe we all have one magic seed within us. And that's the magic seed within us, which has been given to us in this lifetime, from where everything that we want in our life will grow and nurture and expand. And our whole life is all about recognizing what's that magic seed. And that magic seed is nothing but that one trait within us, which is a most powerful part of our personality. And just loving that one thing within us and understanding that this is who I am, and I'm not going to try to be someone else, because that person is also me. It's about being oneness. That is also me, but that person has this part of their personality more prominent than me. So I've got to first embrace what I have within me and love that, understand that, and from there I will learn other things. So for me, I found empowerment to be my magic seed. If I had learned to be more compassionate or anything like that, if I tried to become like someone else who is probably more compassionate than me, I would have lost what I'm already am, and lost my way. So I think the voice of Kali tells you to recognize that magic seed, love it, and then nurture your garden.
Yes, I know. Concerning, I just said a French word. Concerning my own experience, I had to experience something that I am not naturally to get back to who really I am. So these past years, I really experienced humility, patience, which are not my qualities. And I try to be less flamboyant. Can you say that? I mean, less shiny solar woman, because that's who I am. And it was very interesting because then, as it says, we need the darkness to see the light. So I had to be who I am not, to be more who I am. And it's very interesting because I am going back in that, very talkative woman, getting outside to the world after being like in a retreat for maybe a few years. So it's interesting sometimes to experience who you're not really,
which is
to
very important. Yeah.
yes, to know to know and accept with your own conscious, with being very aware of who you are. That's a very good way to do it. And I wanted to say that, when we're talking about self-love, it's not only words. And when we are talking about it right now, I can feel it here. It's like, so warm in this part of my body. I don't know if you see it on the screen. Can you see it? No, here.
Now we can. Yeah.
And so it's let's make it like this maybe so that you can see. It's getting so warm in here, and it's like because love comes with peace and joy. It all goes together, okay? So when you are really in that feeling of self-love, I can feel it's like, peace coming all in my body, all over my body, inside and outside. And also here, it's like, a big sun, I would say, is shining and being so warm. And I can feel this, the heat here in my chest, and it feels so good. And then you feel very serene and very calm, very joyful. And that's it. You are, because self-love is you are. I
You
am.
are.
That's it. I
Very,
am.
very interestingly, you said that you had to understand who you are. You first had to understand who you are not. And there's a very powerful, in fact, I also follow that method, and that's called neti neti. That is, I'm not this, I'm not this. But the only reason that you were able to recognize who you are is because somewhere you held on to that thing that I know this I am, but I'm just going to work my way towards it from another angle, isn't it? So you were just shedding the layers of what you are not to come back with more clarity and force to who you are, and then loving that. And interestingly enough, I had to go through some deep lessons in patience as well, and forgiveness, to come to a point where I was nothing but my empowered self. But going through that didn't mean that I lost sense of who I am, but I just needed more clarity. So yes, self love is having that, making that promise to yourself that you will go through any route, you will take any route forward to come back to your core of who you are, to understand. So making that promise to your soul, honoring your soul, and telling yourself that I will go through the lessons that are meant for me so that I can come back to who I am and expand on that. And while going through these lessons, I will nurture myself. I will not criticize myself. I will not humiliate myself. And I will expand on this. I'll be kind to myself. I'll expand on this love. I'll be kind to myself. So I may be feeling, um, I may be going through a very tough lesson in forgiving someone. It may be hard for me. So I will understand that it's hard for me. It's almost like you're nurturing your inner child.
Yes, what happens is two things. First, most of the time, because when we talk about self-love, it's really knowing who you are. So of course, it's a spiritual journey. It takes time, or it can be in one second, of course, all the time. Both solutions. But most of the time, we have to go in the world, visit all countries, and then you come back to your own country. And that's the same with ourselves. So I visited patience, I visited humility, I visited retirement in a retreat. I visited solitude, I visited all very different countries, and then I came back to my own country. I am very rich now because I've been visiting all these countries, so I am rich of all these countries' cultures, I would say. So I'm richer now, and I can know that I am very well in my own country, in my own self. That's the first thing I wanted to say. Second, what we do, we think we love ourselves. It's not true. As you said, we are criticizing us all the time.
Yeah.
There is this bad voice that, oh, you're not good enough, or you're too much, or you're doing that, or you're not doing it, or all the time. We are so tough on ourselves. It's just incredible, because I don't know why, but the education we get from our parents is not to love ourselves, is to be efficient, is to be a good kid, then we are a good worker, and then we are a good spouse, and then we are a good citizen. But we are not good to ourselves. And I have two daughters, and it was very important for me to teach them how
Yes.
to love themselves, be confident in themselves, so that when they are 18, they can fly away. And they did, because the two went to Canada, so it's very far away from France. And that's very important, because you need to be grounded. You need to know who you are. You need to know your resources, internal resources. You need to know your strengths, so that you can just live life, because sometimes it's tough. So you need to be able to face life sometime. So that self-love, I can feel it so much in my body. It's so good. We should talk about it all the time. Like I could feel it like this. Then I can feel so grounded, my 2 feet on the ground, and I can feel I'm so strong, talking about self-love. My center is here. Of course, it's the heart center, the heart,
heart chakra.
chakra. Of
Yeah.
course, it's here, because
Yes.
when we talk about love, it's about opening our hearts and our heart chakra. And when I had that experience of opening my heart chakra, it was like this. And then you have the ability and the will to love everything that comes to you, every moment, every person. Like life is so beautiful when you open your heart chakra. It's then you feel so lively,
So alive.
so
But
good.
I also think a very important part of self-love is learning to say no. So I remember when I was going through this journey, at that moment, I didn't realize that this was a very powerful technique, but it was intuitively coming to me. Maybe I was channelizing through Kali. Every time I was in a situation which was not very healthy for me or my soul, I imagined a ball of a golden light around me. And I imagined that everything that's coming to me, which does not serve any good purpose to me, or is not good for my soul, or is going to leave some nasty imprints on my soul or impressions on my soul, I would just imagine and visualize that it's just bouncing back. It's not coming to me, because the moment you start to go on this journey of self-love, you start protecting yourself from anything that's going to harm you. And even if that requires you to be a little more stronger than you naturally are, that's where then your inner Kali or your Kali will guide you and tell you to express the truth with stern voice, with a more stern strength. And so I learned to say no to some certain things and certain situations and certain habits in the others, or certain things that were disturbing me. I learned to create my boundaries, because I now knew that this thing is going to harm me, and I'm not going to let anything harm me. I'm going to learn how to protect myself. So a very important part, even if it is just taking that small step of saying no to someone, when you every time you've just said yes, that is the first step, or it could be a very small step towards a very big and beautiful inner journey.
Yes, it is very important, in fact, saying no, because most of the time, well, not most of the time, but many times we say yes, but inside we say no.
Yeah.
Then we get very much stressed, because it's like being at the two sides at the same time. It's not possible at two extremes. And it's very important to respect yourself.
Yes.
First. What is good to me? What is good for me? Is it true that I say yes or no? Then you have really the choice. Most of the time we say yes because we think we don't have the choice. We do have the choice. And if you don't respect yourself, you don't respect the other person also, because you're not true to the other person. And most of the time when we say yes, it's because we want to please the other person. We want to be loved anyhow. I mean, so we are not being ourselves. Really, we are, having a mask, or trying to, to do what must be done, what you think must be done. But you're not. First, you're not happy. That's one thing. And you're not grounded. You're cheating. which is really bad because then you're very far away from your truth. And so, yes, saying no is
Yes.
very important.
Absolutely, absolutely. And once I learned to do this in my journey, I was able to come out of situations like you said. I was literally, I could just hear in my mind, you have a choice. You have a choice. And to just understand that freedom, that I have a choice, that just gave me wings to find my own route. And the moment I started doing that, gradually I learned to sync what my heart was asking me to do with what I was speaking. And the more that came in sync, the more I got clarity of who I am, and I started accepting that who I am, and this is what I am. And also I've seen that once you say that this, now there are two ways of saying, well, this is who I am and this is what I'm going to be. There's one stubborn way of saying that I'm this. I really don't care about the other person. And then there is a nurturing way of saying that, well, I am this, I understand I am this. And I also understand that you may be a different person. And I would love to understand you the way you are. And I would love to explain you where I'm coming from with love. So there is once you start to embrace that identity that you have understood about yourself with love, you start to express that with love and not with arrogance. So we may think that it's going to look arrogant to the other person. Well, this is who I am, and I'm walking away from this situation because this is not right for me. That doesn't come with arrogance. That just comes with love, because
Exactly.
that's what you're doing.
Yes, and because, if you accept yourself, then you accept others. We come in this life with a certain personality because we want to experience a certain way of life. So we have these, qualities and bad qualities also. And it's a way of expressing a way of being, and the other person has another one. So it's very rich to be open to the other personality also.
Yes.
Because I would say, it's an expression of the divine in many ways, and there are so many ways. We are 7 billion people on Earth, and so there are 7 billion ways of being.
Wow, such a
Ways,
beautiful thing to say, Christine.
yeah, ways of expressing. As you said, the Kali inside, the divine inside, that's what we are trying to do. We know it or we don't know it, we are aware of it or not, whatever. So when you accept, your own light, your own divine self, then you are very welcome to others'
Yes.
divine self.
Yes.
So it's a win-win situation. It's
Absolutely.
not I am telling who I am, this is my way, and I'm not going to say the bad word, but whatever your way. No, not at all.
Yes, you accept yourself and you accept others, and there is more harmony.
Yeah.
The key word that comes in your life is harmony and peace, and happiness is a byproduct, obviously, of peace and harmony.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Exactly.
So
and what is very interesting, like in my last meditation with my Indian guru, I got a message, and the message was, what counts is not to do, is to be and to love. At first, I was a little surprised that there was this dimension of love. Because usually you say, it's what you have, what you do, and who you are. But with love, love is such an energy. It's so powerful, and it takes all. I would say. I mean, it's if you love yourself, if you love life, if you love others, happiness is always there.
yeah.
So it's the key. But what happens is that we have many wounds, much suffering inside of our heart. And that's why it's not open. So that's what we have to do. We have to heal our wounds so that we can open a little bit more our heart. And that's the I would say the duty that we have, is opening and opening and opening a little bit more each time our heart to be happy. That's what is love.
Yeah, and understanding that every wound is eventually a lesson for us to understand and embrace, and it gives us the ability to understand the other person. So if I've gone through a traumatic relationship, I can understand the trauma the other person is going through, and I have the ability in my heart. But that can only happen when I accept that I went through this, and I accept myself, and I accept the pain that I went through it, and I'm not in a denial. And that gives me the ability to then understand and accept the anger in the other person because of the trauma they have gone through. So we are wasting our lives if we are not understanding the lessons of the experiences we are going through.
Yes, of course. And compassion, because you're talking about compassion. Compassion is a way of loving.
It is. Yes.
It is a way of, as you say, because I am in contact, connected to my own suffering, I can understand the other's suffering, and I can be compassionate. It's so important, because then you put love on pain, and
Yes.
that heals.
That heals. So we can then conclude that self-love is not just a healing energy within us. It is one of the most powerful tools that we carry with us to find solutions to every complex problem we have in our life. If there is some door that you think is closed in your life, if there is an area that you want to go but you're scared of going there, use love as a tool and understand your fears. Understand that fear is residing within you. Love that fear, and that fear will love you back. It will not scare you anymore. You will understand the essence and the root cause of that fear, and you'll be able to work with that fear like a friend, not like an enemy. So you're making fears your enemy. You're making everything that you considered negative within you becomes a tool for you to learn. And gradually, that, like Christine says, it expands your heart, and you're able to not just give that love to yourself, but to others, and there is more harmony and more happiness. So thank you, Christine, for this wonderful insight on self-love.
It was such a pleasure. I just want to say that, to people who are listening to us, be compassionate to yourself, be a loving person to yourself, and then love will expand, and you will love life and others, and it will be such a nice world.
Amen to that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ekta. Thank you very much, Kali, of course.